Hey everybody, and welcome back to Tinnitus Labs. And today we have a special guest. This is our very first interview with one of the very first users of the Bisensory stimulation device, or the Susan Shore device. So we're going to be talking about their story, how tinnitus has affected them, and what their experience has been like using the device. So, Ed. It's great to have you on the podcast, and I know that we've been talking for quite some time, so it's actually really great to be able to hear your voice and to talk to you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's start with a little bit about your story. So, to start up, could you share a little bit about yourself? For example, your life before tinnitus. Maybe just, share some details you're comfortable sharing. Maybe
Sure.
like your interests or maybe your connection to music.
Absolutely. Well, I'm 72, and I've been playing guitar and singing since I was 9. I played in a rock band for several years. After graduating high school, we had steady gigs 4 nights a week, and they were crazy times and a lot of after-hours clubs. We'd go into the city, and we'd had a blast. But then disco came out. And once disco came out, I realized, I said, well, I can't be doing this when I'm 40 years old. I was 21, 22, 23 then. So I went to college and went to law school. And then, I never stopped playing guitar. Um,
Okay.
and
It sounds like you had a really cool music-filled life, I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, especially musicians, who get this condition, unfortunately. Moving on. So, how did your tinnitus first start? Was it like a particular event, or did it come on gradually? For example, some people have tinnitus, like mild tinnitus, for their whole lives, and then after a particular noise event, they spike or something like that. So yeah. What about you?
I never really knew about tinnitus until it happened to me, and that was in um, April of 2022. We COVID had just ended and stuff, and we started gigging again, and we were rehearsing for a big gig, and unfortunately, my bass player's amp just went into a feedback loop like I had never heard. I was able to turn the volume on my guitar down, uh, but that's all it took. I mean, and that's when the tinnitus started.
Like
I we,
immediately after that, yeah.
with it, yeah, I would say, you know, when I know, we all were stunned. We thought a car crashed into his living room or something. That's
Oh,
how loud it
geez,
was.
wow, that's crazy.
Uh,
And
yeah,
none of your bandmates got tinnitus, did they?
no, no, because the speaker that did this was like 3 feet right from my left ear. Everybody else was to the side. I was right in the line of fire,
Oh,
so to
what a
speak.
bad stroke of luck.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah. That black cloud just floated over me that day for sure. And how quick it started. We finished rehearsing. It was a really big gig at a place called the Plateau, and so I just noticed on the way home. I said, I got this. It sounded initially like crickets or a little tea kettle sound or something, and I said, it'll go away. And of course, it never did. And that's how it
mhm.
started. How quick it took. I mean, the rehearsal, it happened on the first song of the rehearsal. We rehearsed for 2 hours, and of course I didn't, like an idiot, I kept rehearsing. I probably should have stopped, but I didn't really notice it because we kept playing.
Yeah, I
And
really
then when
can't blame you for that, honestly. It's really common to see situations where people get tinnitus like after a concert, after a gig, and it usually goes away for most people, but for the unlucky ones, it stays. So,
Well,
all right, what about your life after after you got tinnitus? So, what like emotions or challenges did you face when like you first realized it wasn't ever going to go away, for example?
I did try to educate myself on what the heck was going on. I went to an ENT. He sent me for an MRI to rule out, I guess, an acoustic neuroma.
Yeah.
Um, and he basically said, look, there's not a lot we can do. A lot of times it just goes away on its own. You can try acupuncture.
So he
So I
basically
tried.
offered you like borderline quackery solutions, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a nice guy. I mean, doctors don't like to admit they don't have anything to do to help you with,
Yeah,
so
I love doctors, but we can't live with them, can't live without them, I guess.
right. Yeah.
Um,
So I went for like 20 visits. She was very nice, she was an RN at Columbia Presbyterian, and she opened up her own practices. She was very nice. And, she basically said in acupuncture school, they teach you the only thing they really can't help with is very difficult is acupuncture. I mean, is tinnitus. It always humbles them, they say, and she tried everything, and then I just stopped after 20 visits. That was a
mhm.
waste. And then,
Yeah.
of course, the supplements start, and we know what that scam is. If you get better, they claim credit for the supplements doing it, and if you don't, that's the end of it. You just stop
If you
doing
don't,
it.
they
So,
just say that, oh, you're just unlucky, something like that.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. You know.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah, and then I started looking at TRT. I got some books, and then it seemed like wacky stuff to me, like just ignore it, or just I don't know. It was just how can you ignore it? And of course I had stopped playing guitar and singing, and I had to leave my job, and so I didn't know what to do after that. And then I heard about this Lanier thing. And
right.
so I was close to getting that. I was ready to send a guy a check for 4,500. And then I came across your YouTube channel and watching your videos and everything else. Basically, he never that audiologist never got my $4,500. Uh,
Forty
because
five
I
hundred
always had
dollars.
doubts.
Jeez,
It
that's
seemed to
absolutely
me that
insane.
yeah, if Lanier really did something, it had been around in Europe for 3 4 years, it would have been all over the internet how great it was, and this is it, the cure, and blah blah blah. And so I always a little, you know, um, skeptical about it. But then when the FDA approved it, I said, well, but they just approved it because it was a de novo and they had nothing else, and that's my. And so I never got it, and then I just stayed listening to you, and that was watching the videos and learning about bimodal stimulation, and that's basically the tinnitus never really got better. So then eventually you offered me a device.
Yeah, well, that
Um,
actually leads us right into the next section. All right, so about the device itself, um, can you actually describe, like, in as much detail as you can, what you experienced, for example, while using the device, for example, yeah, and whether you, for example, saw any positive effects, like immediately or later, and for example, would you say that the effects could potentially be like placebo, right? Like subjective or more objective?
well, I didn't notice anything until about 3 to 4 weeks in. I had followed your protocol pretty good. You know, no benzos, no anything. Uh, you know, Protein diet mostly. And I tried to keep a low profile as far as activities and that type of thing. And after about 3 to 4 weeks, I noticed that how could I describe it? That I would all of a sudden, I'd wake up and I would not have a day of continuous tinnitus. But what I mean by that is that there was no continual sound of like air being let out of a tire or like a whistling from a tea kettle. No, not, it was just pretty much silence, but then random, I would call them misfirings. Like when we were little, we used to shoot off bottle rockets. So every once in a while, I'd get a choo or a choo, something like that, but no more continuous tinnitus. And, that was pretty exciting, and after 6 weeks, I was up to, uh, I guess, 3 days to 4 days. And I've kept using it. I'm in my 10th week now, and I'm talking about the most recent device. Because initially I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a,
The first device from the first engineer that I think many of my viewers know. Project unfortunately fell through because of some of the issues that that device had. But yeah,
right.
I did indeed send you the upgraded version,
Yes.
which was made by a much far more competent engineer who knew a lot actually about the nervous system and how it works, and um, how to build a device with the proper protocol, all of that stuff, right?
So basically, yeah, the new one is, you know, tons more easy to use and just terrific. And so I'm in my 10th week. It wasn't 10 weeks in a row between that first device and the upgraded one because there was a period of time until I got the upgraded device. So it hasn't been a continuous 10 weeks. But uh, it was 6 weeks with the first device, and I'm into 10 weeks with this device. Although I took a week off because I had a little. I had tried doing. Well, I'm trying to remember now. Actually, a fire truck went by when I was outside in my car, and it just spiked me. So I stopped using it for about a week. And But I've continued using it now. As far as placebo, I don't consider it placebo at all as being the results because when you don't have any noise in your head, that's not placebo.
Yeah, it's pretty
Uh,
hard. It's pretty hard for that
yeah,
to be placebo.
that wouldn't be placebo. If somebody was thinking the volume went down, well, maybe that could be placebo. But when there's no noise, except for a random, once in a while, then that's not placebo. And so I'm up to 4 to 5 days um, a week of having no continuous tinnitus.
That's really
Um,
excellent. That's actually
yeah,
really amazing. A lot of people who've been participating in the project. I'm not going to call it a trial, since I've gotten some criticism regarding that. Since the project has been going, there have been quite a few people who have gotten some very nice suppression, but full silence is definitely, of course, the main goal. And from your case, we can see that using the device for longer than the 6 weeks can indeed lead to more significant results. Now, in the periods, besides the spike, would you say that, in the periods when when you weren't using the device, that you still had like maybe a return to this no tinnitus days?
Um, you mean prior to using any of your
No,
devices?
no, no. I meant like in the break when you had the spike. Did you recover naturally? For example, back to a sort of mid baseline after the first device usage, or did you get like the further suppression with only after using the second device?
Um, I would say that using the first device, I think I would say I got 2 to 3 days of no continuous tinnitus, and when I stopped it, uh, it continued that way.
So you would say that the
And then,
results were consistent even when you stopped the device usage.
yes, yes, they didn't dissipate. Right, I didn't go back
Yeah.
to, yeah, and which I guess is consistent with what happened with some Assure's people on the
Yeah,
trial, I
yeah,
guess.
absolutely. They actually continued, some of them continued improving,
Right.
even after
And
stopping
so
the
when I
device usage, right?
yeah. So of course, when you gave me the newer device, now I'm up to 4 to 5 days, and I am like at now I'm kind of like I tried a 40-minute session. Um, I did 2 30-minute sessions for a few days, and it just got a little too intense as far as everything seemed to be louder around me. So I
Yeah,
said, let
yeah,
me
you
lay.
you overdid it a little bit. Yes.
Oversensitized my brain, and so I did a 40 minute, and some I may skip a day here or there now, going into my 11th week. Look, what do I know? But it seems interesting that Shore's people continue to approve after they stop. So I'm wondering if maybe you shouldn't bombard your brain every day.
Yeah, that's
Like
actually that's a good point. Yes, your body might need some time to kind of
right,
settle and for the homeostatic plasticity to kind of settle in without, constantly being stimulated for LTD,
especially
right?
yeah, especially when you're going into week 11 or 12. I mean, I have no problem using this for another 5 months, 4 months, whatever it takes to get 7 days of no continuous tinnitus, because my goal, of course, is to someday, if LTD sets in the way I hope it does, that I can go back to playing music. Of course, this time I'll be using protection and musicians' earplugs, etc. But that's ultimately the goal.
Right, right. So, now let's talk actually a little bit about your quality of life improvements, plus your, I guess, distress. Maybe you could, say a few words about that, and, for
Yes,
example, compare days when you have the continuous tinnitus and when you, for example, do not have the continuous tinnitus or, near silence.
right. Before your devices, anxiety was tremendous. It was just the first year. I mean, I don't want to get dramatic, but I was suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
um, and we know the story of a billionaire, Texas Roadhouse billionaire who got
Yeah, Ken
tinnitus.
Ken Taylor, yeah.
Yeah, and he killed himself. Just imagine you're a billionaire and you kill yourself because of tinnitus. That's how powerful tinnitus is with regard to whether you want to live or not. So I was in a bad place in the first year. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't have my girlfriend, my family, and
Right,
four
it's really
cats counting.
important to have people, people who
Yeah,
support you. Absolutely.
yeah. And so that was pretty, but then, in year two, you just start to get a little, I don't say used to it, but, you made it through one year. Maybe you can keep going. But, I really wasn't having any fun. There was no enjoyment in my life. And So it was pretty bad, you know. But
Yeah.
now with this device, when I have a day with tinnitus, um, I'm sure it's probably lower, but it doesn't seem that way to me because of all the days without it, you know? So it kind of like, but it's not anxiety anymore. It's just I'm annoyed. You know, it's
That
gone
that's
from
that's a that's
anxiety.
a big step. That's a big step.
Yeah, right. I'm just annoyed that, oh shit, I have tinnitus today, you know? And that's because of, having no continuous tinnitus days. So that's how I would say, of course, my quality of life is, I mean, it's gone up, 70, 60, 70%, I would say, in the last, since I guess, what was it, April maybe, when I first got something, a device from you,
Right, and that's a really important thing is improving people's quality of life, which is the whole point, I would say, of this project overall. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've even picked up the guitar, not plugged in, but I play electric guitars unplugged or acoustic guitar, and I'm trying to get my calluses back, but I lost them, And when you don't have your calluses, just playing after an hour, your fingertips burn. They really hurt. It reminds me when I was 9 how they used to actually bleed,
Oh
you
wow.
know. I've lost all the calluses, so I've got to slowly gain them back, and I'm doing that now, trying to just get the calluses back, and then once they're back, I can play 3-4 hours a day like I used to always
Wow,
do.
that's that's so great. I was kind of a musician myself before I got tinnitus and hyperacusis and catastrophically, and of course, when you're suffering immensely, it's not the first thing on your mind. But thankfully, I started improving, a little bit, and even further with device usage. And yeah, my tinnitus obviously has gone down to such a point where I can't hear it outside anymore. And my hyperacusis,
Hmm.
my loudness discomfort levels are like way higher than what they used to be, and it's allowed me to start singing again, and it's allowed me to start
Right?
playing again.
Yeah. Well, music is so joyful, and when you're not joyful, you just don't want to do it. It's just like, and singing and playing guitar. You want to hear those are the things you want to hear in your head. You don't want to hear tinnitus too. So it just, I mean, it was to the point when I first tried it before I had, like, maybe after a year, I was going to be like a Pete Townsend and just smash my guitar. I got so pissed off even that I couldn't enjoy it. It was like, it was horrible. And of course, I associated getting tinnitus with, playing guitar, which really it
Yeah,
was just
some
a,
some
a bad,
PTSD
it's
definitely
effective
involved.
amp. Yeah, So I only started in the last few months picking it up.
Right. Well, Ed, I think we're gonna go ahead and end the video right now. I think it's gone quite long. Some of the viewers
Right.
don't have an attention span, so
Right. I
yeah,
understand.
this video is for those people. So I hope that some people who hear your story can understand that there's always hope. Yeah, there's always hope with or without the device. And I'm sure that there's many, many people, hundreds of thousands of people who are waiting very, very patiently or impatiently for the device to release in the United States and et cetera, which hopefully will be soon. And I would like to actually give a massive personal thank you to Susan Shore and her team who achieved the impossible. Yeah, so invested their lives in finding a treatment that works for some people. Yes, it might not sound that great, quote unquote, for some people, but it certainly is something that can give some motivation and hope for some people.
Well,
Yeah.
it's really a work in progress still because I don't know what happens. Maybe you have to use it 6 months. Who the hell knows? And
Yeah,
I
everybody's
think what
different.
is clear is she's on the right track for sure. And she's got the key to the kingdom here.
Right. Well, I wish very, very, I wish a lot of success to Shore and her team. And I would also like to thank you, Ed, for coming on and telling your story and, sharing your experiences, I guess.
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you, Anthony. I mean, without you and without Shore, I wouldn't be doing this well at all. I just can't thank you enough.
All right. Well, okay. I guess that's it for today, guys. And if you do have any questions regarding your case, tinnitus, or whatever, you're absolutely free to join my Discord channel where me or some of my associates will try our best to help you with your case. And some people have also been asking me whether I'm going to be opening the project again. I'm not really sure. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but that's to be seen. We're still working with some of the participants who applied a while back. So there's a very large workload involved. And regarding uploads to my channel, I will be making more scientific videos. I've just been very, very, very busy. Student life is quite quite a lot. But yeah, so that's it for today, and I'll see you all later.